Okay, we'll go ahead and get started. I'll share my screen here. Thank you all for coming to session 2 for the food co-op training. We have Chris Davis here with us today, and she will be sharing with us here in a little bit a little more about food and supply source and how they can benefit your program. Um, but in the meantime, we'll go ahead and get started with some introductions. I'm Jacqueline Miles, Shared Service Coordinator for 0 to 5 Montana. And like I introduced Chris Davis already. And um, I'm going to go through a little bit about 0 to 5 Montana. In the meantime, if I could have you please put your name, your program type, location, your PS number or registry ID in the chat along with your plans for Memorial Day weekend, that would be great. Okay, so for our agenda, Um, we're gonna find out how food co-op op what food co-op options are for Montana childcare providers. Find partners in your local community to collaborate to help reduce the cost of groceries and supplies. Alternate resources for menu planning. Streamline your grocery order and have a rep to help you look for the best deals. And you also get 2 hours of continuing education. Right. Next one. All right. Who are we? Who is 0 to 5 Montana? We are dedicated to stabilizing, innovating, and building the early childhood systems in Montana so all families and communities can thrive. Our team has two sides working simultaneously to align childcare programs with best business practices and advocate for law and regulations supporting safe learning environments for kiddos. And meet our team. I'm sure a few of you have recognized a few faces on there from having a heart for kids or different trainings you've attended. On the next slide, we have 0 to 5 Montana's core principles. And then let me take a moment to tell you a little bit about Montana Child Care Business Connect. In April of 2024, 0 to 5 Montana expanded, adding Montana Child Care Business Connect. MCCBC supports starting, growing, and expanding providers and community initiatives. Jason and Kendra can help out with business advising, and Shelby Whalen is our community navigator, and Refor workforce recruitment and retention cohorts is Beth Branham. And then I am with shared services. And I will add all like I did last week, I will add the um, web pages and whatnot to the chat for you guys' references for later. All right, next page. Just a little bit more about shared services. In October of 2024, 0 to 5 Montana added shared services to the Montana Child Care Business Connect. Our current services consist of Ally Health Services, 0 to 5 Montana, Child Care Substitute Solutions, and the vendor discount page. I will drop a link in the chat for our shared services page, but on there you can find more information about Ally Health. Ally Health memberships offers a wide variety of services, including telehealth. Ally Health and telehealth was a main focus during the transition of shared services from Raise Montana to 0 to 5 because we did not want there to be any lapse in coverage. Childcare substitutes has been put on hold for accepting new substitutes and programs as we needed to figure out logistics and funding for onboarding substitutes. We are relaunching the sub pool this summer, so be stay tuned for more information on that. Recently, we have added CCMS discounts to our shared services page as well. ProCare, Brightwheel, Playground. If your program is looking for a CCMS, you can use one of these links to book a demo and receive a discount. Kendra Edlin, who is on the call with us today, um, she's a child care business advisor, is hosting a ProCare TA class currently, but it has upcoming technical assistant classes for Playground and Brightwell as well. And on the screen here, you can see that there are dates for that. Right. Oh, and please make sure your microphones are on mute. Vendor discount page has been live since the end of February 2025. We are actively seeking businesses and organizations so we can continue to grow our page. If you know of a local business organization that you think would be beneficial to childcare providers in your area for effectiveness and efficiency, please share with us. And you can just email that to sharedservices@0to5.org. Again, I will drop that email in the chat along with it's on a couple of slides here too. So, all right. Now I am going to stop sharing my screen and I'm going to let Chris from Food and Supply Source take over. And yeah.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. I am going to share my screen right now. One second. My name is Chris Davis, and I am with Food and Supply Source. And I want to tell you a little bit about who we are and why it might matter to you, and then share some training that I think that might be helpful for what you do. So again, if you have any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat. And I think, Jackie, you're watching the chat, right? All right, very good. All right, so without further ado, Food and Supply Source, we don't sell anything. I like to start off with that. I'm not trying to sell you anything. Our program is completely free, so I'm just going to go through those resources. But we've been around for a long time, and we were started years ago. Our founder was an employee of Sysco Foods. You're familiar with Sysco. They're the largest wholesale distributor in the world. And what he noticed was, as a sales associate back in the days, 27 years ago, he noticed that the social services group, these are the folks who are busy taking care of other people. Most often, this group was overlooked, underserviced, and overcharged. And so he put together a program on his own to help with that. And I'm going to share a little bit about who we are, what we do, and on the agenda, you can see we're going to talk about what's in it for you. And if you decide you'd like to participate in the program, how do you become a part of it? Starting with social services, this is a quick overview of all of the different organizations that Food and Supply Source works with. And we are exclusive to social services. I'm going to get into more details later, but we are group purchasing, works kind of like a co-op. We leverage the buying power of our members nationwide to get better pricing for the organizations that you see on the screen. We work a lot with childcare and Head Start specifically. We're in every state in the United States, including Canada. We're not yet in Hawaii. I wish that we were, because I'm looking for an excuse to make a trip out there. So if you know of any conferences on Hawaii, let me know. We were purchased a year ago by a company called Buyer's Edge Platform. And why this matters is because Buyer's Edge owns about 40 different other companies. And what that purchase did was it took our buying power, which was significant, and it made it way better. Buyer's Edge owns a number of group purchasing companies that focus on everything from casinos and hospitality to restaurants and nursing homes. And that combined purchasing power is over $70 billion a year. You can see some of the names of the operators that we work with: Notre Dame, MGM Resorts. You've heard of Jimmy John's. So we're a pretty large company, but Food and Supply Source is just a very, very small. We have about 15 people that work for our little small company under the umbrella of the bigger one. Now you're like, Chris, this is all great, but what do you do? There are three main things that we do, and I always start off with saying and reminding our services are free because once I start saying how great everything is, everyone's like, well, that's great, but how much is it? And no one listens to me. They're like, how much is it? So I like to start off with it's totally free. There's no contract, there's no catch. Uh, we do three things. Number one, if you're buying groceries from a food service distributor, and I'm talking distributors like US Foods, Cisco, Performance Food Group, Gordon's Foods, Benny Keith, Shamrock, S&W, like there's a million of them out there. If you're having your groceries delivered from a broadline distributor, we can usually save you anywhere between 10 and 35% on the same groceries that you're buying. If you are buying from a grocery store, a local farm, Walmart, Amazon, Webstaurant, Restaurant Depot, we can't save you money from what you're buying there. Our deals are through Cisco. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about how our program is structured so you understand that. But we are, and I understand that we're not for everyone. So not everyone has, they're not feeding enough children where it makes sense for them to get products in full cases. So we're going to talk a little bit about that too. The second thing that we do, and this is some good information for you, and we're going to dive a little bit deeper into this in the next couple of slides. We provide nutritional resources that are very important for many of our operators, especially ones who are operating through Head Start or if they're following a CACFP program. If you're not already aware, CACFP stands for Child and Adult Care Feeding Program. And with this program, centers are able to get reimbursement from the government for a portion of the dollars that they spend per month on groceries. I think the average reimbursement is $4.01. They've got the 1 cent after that $4 mark per child per day. And our menus, what we do is we build menus that are compliant with CACFP because the funding is not released unless your menu and your invoices match and they're compliant with the standards for nutrition through CACFP. I'll talk about that more later. The other thing we do is we provide what we call concierge customer care. A lot of big companies, if you call their customer service team, you're going to probably listen to some terrible hold music, be on hold for longer than what you'd like. And then when you finally do get a person, it's probably someone that you've never spoken to again and or before and probably never will again. It's a complete stranger. Through Food and Supply Source, you have the option to call us instead of calling the supplier directly. And you'll work with Janine, Jessica, Judy, Joanne, Julia, everyone that begins with a J, because our whole team but me has a J. All right, so let's get into the nitty gritty of what we have here. What is a GPO and what does that mean? How does that help you? A GPO is Group Purchasing Organization. And what that means is we not only leverage our buying power, we take all of the products that we buy a lot of and we go to manufacturers. So like maybe we go to Dole and we say, okay, we have 10,000 operators that we work with in the United States, and they all are going to purchase at some point during the year Dole pineapple tidbits. So we'll say we're going to sell Dole pineapple tidbits to our large group of operators, but we need you to give Cisco a better price on Dole pineapple tidbits than what you normally sell them to Cisco for. So we get special deals from manufacturers. They agree to sell at a reduced price for these products. And then the end result is you get a far reduced price from what you could have ever negotiated on your own. Papetti eggs is a great example. We're usually able to save people $35 to $40 a case on that product. The other program benefit for folks that are participating is we have what's called a cost plus program with Cisco. And that means that whatever they pay for that pineapple, when they receive it, they can't just jack the price up and send it to you. There is a specific markup that has been agreed upon via contract and was signed nearly 27 years ago. And that is what the markup is on the product. The only time that your pricing changes when you're on our program is if Cisco pays more for something or if they pay less. One trick that suppliers have is they will ride what we call ride the market. So let's use eggs as a perfect example. All of a sudden, the price of eggs goes up really quickly. So Cisco, they receive the eggs, they immediately charge everybody more because they're paying more. But when the price of eggs starts to come down, they might not necessarily go down so quickly. If they pay $80 for a case of eggs, and then all of a sudden now their price drops to 60 or their cost drops to $60, they may lower your price by $5, but they're not going to drop it the whole. They're going to gradually come down. On our program, they have to come down immediately. So that's something that's good to know. With Cisco, there is a $500 minimum purchase, and that's not a requirement that's per week, but anytime that they make a delivery through our program, they require at least a $500 delivery. And that's so that they can cover the cost of the delivery that they're making, their driver, the people who selected the groceries, et cetera. Without our program, the minimum delivery for Cisco is between 15 and 18 cases per drop, which is typically higher than $500. So it's a good benefit for us and for you. Next up, let's talk about why Cisco. There are many companies that we could have partnered with in the United States, but we chose Cisco because they have consistent quality and they have consistent service and they're reliable for us as a partner. And they're available throughout the country. They have over 50 different locations. You may not know this, but every Cisco stocks at least 10,000 different products. That's far more than what you're going to find at any local wholesale club or grocery store. So you'll have more options. They also carry a $3 million product liability insurance policy on every single product that they stock. Why that's important for you is that if you have a situation where, God forbid, there is a quality concern where someone says, I chipped a tooth or I got sick because I ate that dinosaur-shaped chicken nugget, then you're protected. Cisco's protected and you're protected. And I promise you that that same product liability insurance policy is not provided by every retail company or store that you might purchase from. So it becomes more important the more that you grow your business. You want to protect it. The next thing is product recalls. I say always it's not a matter of if, but when there is a product recall. And with Cisco's system, the way that their program works, when product is received at their loading docks, their receivers have it looks like a really ugly watch, but it's actually a computer on their wrist. And they're scanning that product in and putting it into a slot, kind of like what you see that forklift driver doing. Once that happens, they now have a tracking mechanism on that entire product, pallet of product that was received that day. When you receive an order from them, every single product that you receive will have a sticker. The sticker on that case of product will have your name, the date you received it, how many cases you got, the item code number, everything about that product. So when there's a recall, Cisco knows when they received the product, how much they received, who it went to, on what day, and how much you got. So they're immediately like telethon on the phone calling you to say, hey, you got this peanut butter, throw it away. That is not going to happen with Costco or Sam's. You're going to get lucky if you see it on Facebook. Wholesale gets the best, retail gets the rest. This is something that most people don't know. I spent 31 years working for Cisco. That's why I know a little bit more than the average bird. But what I also know through the years of training is that the product that you're gonna find at a wholesale distributor like Cisco, the quality of what is in the boxes is different than what you're gonna find at a grocery store or even at a Sam's, BJ's, or Costco. I'm going to give you an example. We had a situation a couple weeks ago where we found a Quaker Valley granola bar. These are the 2-packs, the crunchy ones, individually wrapped, individually 2-pack wrapped. They were $9 cheaper at a Sam's Club. I'm like, well, how can that be? Cisco's the largest in the country. We have a program with Cisco. How can there be this $9 difference for the same exact size product? And what we found is we read the nutrition label, and one of the products had far more whole grains in it than the other. The only way that can happen is if the ingredients in the product are different. So check it out. What you're going to find is sometimes, and not always the case, but sometimes it isn't really apples to apples. And that was something that I learned recently that I did not know. All right. How do we determine how much money we're going to save you? I usually say if you're buying from a distributor, even if it is Cisco, and you're feeding at least 50 kids, we can usually save you at least $10,000 a year, and that's a lot of money. Here's how it breaks down. You would send us your current invoice, like from your current supplier. In this case, I'm showing, you can see right here in the middle of the screen, it says US Foods sell price. Let me see if my mouse will go there. And there it is, right? Sell price. This whole column was what the pricing showed on that invoice from US Foods. And here is our pricing through our program. Here's the savings, and here's the percentage of savings. I don't care so much about percentages because you can't take those to the bank, but dollars you can. So I always look at the dollar amount. What we also show, and I snipped it just so that I could have bigger numbers and letters on the slide. To the far left, we would show the pack size and the brand for each, because what we want to do is make sure we're comparing the exact same amount of the exact same quality product. So in this case, you can see that we have some unlaminated white foam plates. They're 3-compartment, 9-inch. Cisco's price through our program was $31.75. That operator was paying $33.79, and that's a savings of $2.04, which doesn't seem like a big deal, but by the time you add up all the other savings, it ends up being a big deal. Look at these mandarin orange sections. This is the same exact as 6 number 10 cans. They were paying US Foods $69.63. On our program, if they purchased it through as a member of our program, they would have saved over $30 on that one case. So the dollars really do add up. And if I say, okay, at the very bottom here, it's a savings of $224.44 for one of each. Most often there's a couple of items where you're ordering more than one case, right? So if I rounded this up to say $250, and this operator bought every week throughout the year, that's a savings of $13,000. So that is where your pennies really do add up to dollars. Next up, I want to talk a little bit more about our nutritional resources. And I think this is probably what is going to be of interest to a lot of you. I don't know if everyone on this call is following CACFP, but even if you aren't, this can be very helpful for you. What our team does, and we have 3 registered dietitians on staff, and then we have folks to support them as well. We can not only create those menus that are compliant with CACFP, we can also review your existing menus if you've prepared them for CACFP, and our dietitians can sign off on them so you no longer have to pay for a registered dietitian. We can also create recipes for you, or we can take your existing recipes and make them a little bit less expensive or a little bit more nutritious. We can break down that recipe on what we call a recipe costing card that shows you here's what your cost is to make this entire batch of chicken and rice. And if you serve 6 ounces per child, here's what your cost is per child. Many times folks are purchasing products from wherever they buy from to keep up with their menu and the nutrition and to make sure that they're buying things that the children like. And so with food inflation, and we've seen quite a bit this year, you may not know exactly where you're going to end up in your cost of food each week. With our program, we can help with that. And what we can do is, because of the experience that we have, we work with the whole country. We know, based upon where you are, the age of the folks that you're feeding, and the types of meals that you're serving, we know what your average cost per child per day should be. And we can propose that budget to you. And then best of all, we can build a menu for you that hits that budget. And now, not only do you know what your budget is and what your spend is for each child, but you also know, here's what I'm going to spend this week on food and no more. So you have control over your food spend. It's not controlling you. Here's an example of how that works. This is a sample menu for one day. It says day 5, so there were 5 days of this. I just broke out one, and it looks like this is for a preschooler. So for breakfast, we have a half a slice of toast, costs 10 cents. We have a quarter cup of fresh blueberries. That's 96 cents. Isn't it crazy how much more blueberries are than toast? 3/4 cup of 1% milk, 21 cents. So the total cost for the kids for breakfast that day is $1.27. Do you know what those numbers are for your business? If you don't, this is a great way to take a look and see how much you're really spending and where your opportunities lie. Snack, we have 2 cheese cubes. We have some applesauce, 29 cents. And then for lunch, there's chicken and rice, broccoli, pineapple, and milk. Cost for lunch is 89 cents. We take 89 plus 29 plus $1.27. That gives us a total of $2.45 for that day. Now down here, it says the average for the week was $2.51. And that's where we look at this. Here's a quick bird's eye view of an entire week of that broken down. Now it's kind of elementary. It looks like somebody typed this up on a old school typewriter, but here we go. Day one is $2.60. Day two, $2.36, $2.71, $2.84, $2.58. You combine all those together, you're probably going to average right about what it says is $2.51. So if I take $2.51, and I've got a calculator here, and let's just say that you're feeding 75 children. So I take $2.51 times 75 children, and that's $188.25. That means that is the cost of my food for one day. And if I'm serving those same number of children, the same type of meals for 5 days, I take that number times 5, and now it's $941.25. And so what I know is that $941.25 is what I should be spending on food for that week and no more. If I find that I spent $1,500 on just food, now I know I've got a couple of problems. Either I have over portioning, over ordering, or I have theft. So this is just a very elementary way of how you keep up with your numbers. Another program benefit that we offer is we take a look at what you're already buying and we make suggestions for products that can save you time, money, or both. What you're looking at on the screen is an example. We had a childcare center that was serving whole apples, and the cost per apple was 48 cents. Now that big old box of apples was sucking up a lot of space in their fridge, and you don't necessarily know exactly how many apples you have in there. What if you have a few that are rotten? And at the same time, they didn't realize that Sysco stocked apple slices. So the kids are more likely to eat an apple that's sliced like your mom does it. And the apple slices were significantly less expensive. So it was more than 10 cents less per snack per child. Took up less space in the fridge. Those come in a flat pack. And we know there's 100 of those little bags. Easier for the teachers to dole out. The kids are more excited about it. And so this is just one example of where we say, oh, hey, did you know this? Sysco also, like any other supplier, they like to sell their brand of products. And when you go onto the ordering center, which is the online ordering system for Sysco or for any supplier who has their own labeled products, they're always going to show you those products first. And if you want to get to a brand that isn't a one of theirs, you have to kind of scroll to the bottom, like past theirs. But so what we found is many of people who are already buying from Sysco, they were buying Sysco branded products. And what we know is there are other products in stock where we can save you even more money. So for example, there was one operator who was purchasing a pre-cooked sausage crumble for pizza. And they were purchasing an Orizio brand, which is a Sysco brand. And we could save them $5 on that same sausage crumble. But if they were willing to move to Hormel, the ingredients in the Hormel product were exactly the same. And we could save them $15 on the Hormel product. So that's another way that we don't just say, here's what your price is and what you're already buying. We say, hey, here's what the price is for what you're already buying. But did you know we can also offer you these other items that are going to be less expensive and you're not sacrificing quality. In addition to all of these benefits, Food and Supply Source likes to mention that we have a program called Real Food Service Rewards. And if you never see me again and you never do anything with us, you can still participate in this. It's completely free. And this program works very much like green stamps, but without any of the heavy lifting. You don't have to cut any coupons. You don't have to paste anything to a page. You just click that QR code, fill in your information, or you can go to realfoodservicerewards.com And once you're logged in and once you're signed up, you will start ordering, you will start, you will start getting points for each product that you purchase. And it'll add up in your account so that you can then take those points and you can trade them in for the goodies that you want. I was at a meeting for Buyer's Edge in Florida last week, and they showed somebody somewhere had enough points to get a Chanel purse. Like, I don't know how many points it's going to take to get that. Like, I'd be happy with, a good vacuum cleaner, but they got a Chanel purse. So, sharing that information, I thought it was pretty fun. There's a lot of brands that you'll see on the left side, like Jif and Tyson. So, it's not so obscure that it wouldn't be able to work for you. However, if you're not buying from a supplier, if you're getting your products from the grocery store, they're not going to be packed in full cases and they're not eligible on this program. Just making sure you know. All right. We've reviewed the savings benefit. We reviewed the nutritional resources, the consulting services, and then just now real food service rewards. But we also, I want to talk a little bit about what we call our concierge level customer service. These folks make it very easy. They walk you through the process. If you are new at purchasing from a distributor, there's no better way than to start than going through our program, because we do truly make it very easy for you. In addition, we're there to take calls for, like, if the driver is arriving late, you need help with that, we can help with that. If you want credit for a can that arrived and it was dented, we can help with that. Any issue that you need help with, we're there. You would have a representative from Cisco, but you would also have our team as well and a direct line to us. We have over 10,000 members nationwide, been around a long time. We have a lot of happy operators, and we get comments like this frequently. And so I always like to brag and share, because we really are. Some people think that we're too good to be true, and it kind of sounds like we are, but we're real. If you decide, wow, this is amazing, I don't know how come I never heard of this before, Chris. Thank you so much, Jacqueline, for bringing Chris to our meeting today. We would like to join. Here's what that process looks like. You would sign our agreement, which is a Word document that says, I would like to become a member. It's very basic. There's no contract. It's just, we send that form to Cisco so they know that you chose to become a member of our program and you want Cisco to tie our program pricing to your existing account or to an account that you're opening. The next step is there's an information form. It tells us, like, who you are, where you are, your address, your delivery days, all that stuff. We like to keep that on hand with your account information on our end, so that when you need help, we know a little bit more about who you are and what you need. Once Cisco receives that information from us, if you do not have an account with them, they will send you a link to their credit app. You will fill that out and it goes directly back to Cisco. We are not involved in that in any way. Once Cisco has established terms for you, they will let you know, and they'll also finish setting up your account. Once they do that, they tie our program pricing to your account. If you open a new account with Cisco and you're not on our program, our pricing will be 20 to 30% more, or 20 to 30% less than what Cisco is going to charge you. So it really is a great value. Once everything is all set up and your pricing has been activated, they tell us, hey, everything's ready to go. Our team of girls that begin with a J, we go in and we double check to make sure that the pricing is accurate. Sometimes Cisco makes a mistake and it's not tied. So we double check it. Once we find that everything is as it should be, we then send you an email that says, welcome to the program. I'd like to introduce your new sales associate from Cisco. It's so-and-so, and your support person from Food and Supply Source is so-and-so with a J. And then we get you all set up on Cisco Shop, which is the ordering platform for Cisco, to make sure you know how to key orders. We can assist you with helping to find products. If you're like, oh, I can't find the tropical fruit salad that I love, or whatever it is, we can help with that. From there, your orders are placed and deliveries are made for the delivery day that has been set up between you and the Cisco sales associate. And that is all of the information about our program. And my contact information is on the screen. If you're welcome to reach out to me directly. Email usually is best. Sometimes I get calls and I don't know who you are, and I think you're trying to sell me a car warranty, so I might not answer. But or if I'm in a meeting like this, so email is best, but you can catch me sometimes on the phone. Does anyone have any questions for me? Let's see if I can see the chat. I don't know if I can.
We don't have any questions in the chat right now.
Okay.
If somebody wants to drop them in there or just go ahead and come off of your mute and ask your questions, you're welcome to do that. Questions?
The sound of silence.
I gave them a lot to think about, Chris.
I know I talk a little bit fast and I gave a lot of information. Um,
No worries.
well, thank you for your time today and your attention. I appreciate the opportunity.
Oh,
And I think there's one new message.
yep, we got
Thank
it.
you. Oh,
It was just a thank you.
thank you. And if there's anything I can help you with, please feel free to reach out to me. All right.
Thank you, Chris.
All right. Y'all have a good day.
You too.
Thanks.
So, yeah, that was a lot of information. Does anybody have any follow-up questions? Uh, for myself, I know Chris has left, but we can always um, email her. Any other follow-up questions? All right. We'll just go ahead and keep going. If questions come up, you just go ahead and ask. All right. So that is all that we have for the both sessions. Thank you for joining us. Like I said, if you have any questions that come up in the next couple of days, feel free to reach out. In the circle there, right here, is connects email address, Chris's and mine. So if you have questions that pop up, feel free to drop them in there, and we'd love to help you out. Also, this QR code right here, go ahead and scan it and get signed up for 0 to 5 Montana's newsletter to stay up to date with our team and see what we're up to. But before I let you go, um, and we move on with the rest of our day, if you could quickly scan this QR code right here and fill out a survey for 0 to 5 Montana Shared Services. It should take about 3 to 5 minutes to complete. We really appreciate the feedback and we thank you for your time this afternoon. And yeah, have a great holiday weekend.
Thanks for joining us, everybody.
Thank you.
Jacqueline, you can stop recording.
Okay. Sorry, I literally just sent you a message. I was like, I don't know if somebody's in here or not. Okay.
You're good.